Yep.
Ahoy, hoy. Ahoy, hoy, 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 hoy.
We're live again.
We're live.
Saturday morning. Second shot.
Second shot. Take two.
No, not really.
Take two for the
Take
morning.
two. Take two for the morning.
Alright, is this YouTube stream going to work now? It still says it's starting. Live, but we are not live.
Yeah, I can see us.
Cool.
I can see a lot more of me than I can of you. But
That's alright. No one needs to see my ugly mug. Alright, guys. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. We're going to be doing a Philly season wrap for you. And what a weird and strange season it has been. I'm going to take you through the process of this season in a timeline.
Yep.
Of what we started the season with to what we finished the season with. So the players we started the season with were Embiid, Simmons, McConnell, Amir Johnson, Dario Saric, Landry Shamet, JJ Redick, Robert Covington, Furkan Korkmaz, Markelle Fultz, Jonah Bolden, Shake Milton on a two-way, Mike Muscala,
The Moose.
Wilson Chandler, Demetrius Jackson on two-way, and Jared Bayless.
Good they moved that Jared Bayless contract. That needed to be moved.
So the Jimmy Butler trade, obviously on November 18th. So now you know what we got for that trade. We sent two pretty good role players in a dead contract. Because that was the Bayless contract.
Yeah.
That was a dead contract.
Yeah.
Two pretty good players in a dead contract.
So that was Covington and
Covington,
Saric.
Saric, and a 2022 second round pick for Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Buster. Love it.
Jimmy Butler and Justin Patton. How do you think that trade went?
Well, at the time, I was worried about Covington. Like, why would you get rid of Covington? Saric, I guess you've got, enough at the power forward spot to kind of let go of Saric, like have Embiid, throw a wrinkle in there with maybe Simmons playing and then bring Joe to Bolden through. Yeah, cool. But Covington, to me, was like, why is he in that trade? No need. There was no need to get rid of Covington at all. I think
it was just like that's what they wanted. That's what Minnesota would trade for. That was it.
Well, I wouldn't have taken that deal breaker for me. But they wanted Jimmy Butler, I guess, and I don't know. Like Jimmy Butler would have been mad with Covington, man. Imagine those two on the perimeter, like with Ben Simmons running the point. Like you'd have a mad clogged lane defense. I didn't like that, man. What about you? Yeah.
I didn't like the trade. I mean, obviously, getting Jimmy Butler. I didn't like the trade because he was only guaranteed for one season.
I know.
So you're giving up two good role players. You're getting rid of a dead contract in Jared Bayless. I think it was about $9 million a season. You're giving up two good role players and a 2022 second round pick for a guy that may not be there next year, and another player that you waive for Greg Monroe. So they waived Justin Patton for Greg Monroe at the end of the season, obviously for the playoff.
But then that's all right. Turning Patton into Greg Monroe is all right. The biggest thing, all right, Jimmy Butler. At the time, you were gambling on hoping he came up with some big moments during the season,
and he did.
Look, he did. Yeah,
he did. And he turned off into playoff Jimmy, which was far, far superior to regular season Jimmy, almost like playoff Kawhi. Played very well postseason. It worked, sending him to the point for periods where Ben Simmons would either play the four or come off the floor. But no guaranteed second year.
That's a worry, man. And he look, spoiler alert, fast forward to now, he has done a little bit of I might be leaving type shit.
He's done a little bit of goodbye. He's put out there that he's not really money focused, that he'll get a max contract wherever he goes, which is true. He will. Someone will give him a 4-year, $140 million.
Yeah.
Someone will give him that. But he's just like, I've still got money from my last contract. Like, I don't need it. I like playing basketball. I want to go to a winning team. Well, you kind of at a team that did everything it can to win.
Yeah.
Do you really want to go to the Lakers, which is just a complete fucking shambles? Do you want to go to the Nets, which...
Okay. Nets is Nets, but the Nets is way further away from getting anywhere in the playoffs.
Yeah, way further away. Embiid, even in a team with Embiid and Simmons, you'd still bank on something being fairly decent. So did we win that trade? I don't think we won. I think we got something for now, but we didn't win that trade.
Nah, but I mean, is in this situation for Philly, is there winning and losing trades really?
There is, because I think that, Saric was top. He was all rookie team 2 years ago. He played quite well last year. He knew the system. He knew how to play with Simmons. He was a shooter, played a bit of post as well. He was kind of a bit of an all-round guy. Not a great player, but averaging 16, 17 points a game. What, you got 21 with Jimmy?
Yeah.
I
guess,
Covington as a defensive player that came through the ranks of the G League, good story. Again, trail shooter, exactly what Ben Simmons needed. This guy just runs the floor, gets to position, shoots the 3-ball. I would have liked to have seen the process culminate maybe next year if they didn't get anywhere with the team that they had, because I think they were not that far away from the Eastern Conference Final last year, obviously losing to the Celtics.
Yep.
But
in 7, no, there was a few. Yeah, that's right. It was in 5, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in 5.
It was like a fake 4-1 that was really a bit closer than it really was.
Yeah, it was probably and Aaron Baines fouling Embiid the last play of the game, which would have sent him to the line and won. Anyway, so I don't think we won that pick, but we got what we needed for right now. 6th of January, they waived Demetrius Jackson. He went to China. They signed Hayward Highsmith. 25th, they signed Corey Brewer to a second 10-day contract. And who can forget the Houston game? Flop on flop.
One of the better highlights of this season, I think. That was really good.
That was a great game.
Why didn't they pick him up? I don't know. I want to understand why
they had it's this trade. It's the Clipper trade. They couldn't. They didn't have the roster.
Okay.
For that kind of stuff. So on the 6th, they traded Wilson Chandler, Mike Muscala, and Shabbat, plus a 2020 first round, 2020 first round, 2021 first round, 2021 second round, and 2023 second round.
That's a lot of picks, man.
For Tobias Harris, Boban, and Mike Scott. And guess what? They're just going to end up with Mike Scott.
Yeah, because who knows what's going to happen with Harris. Look, we should talk quickly about Harris.
Yes.
Again, didn't quite fit. Tried to make it work. And then once it came to the playoffs, it was just like, I don't like it. Don't like it.
No, it would have been a much better fit for Saric as that trail 3 guy. Just shoot threes. Just shoot threes. Be a bit of a clogged lane so they can't get to the lane like Kawhi can't get to the lane. Saric is a bigger body. Just be that guy that shoots threes. You don't need to put the ball on the floor. You've got Embiid in the post. You've got Simmons in the post. You've got Butler in the mid-range. Your job, and he's not that player. He's not that player just to go, I'm just going to shoot threes. It's kind of like, I want to run the offense. He needs his own team to run. And what he doesn't realize, what he's been with Detroit, Clippers, this is like his 4th team.
Yep.
He's 27. If you were going to be that player that someone would have, Detroit would have given you their own team already. You know what I mean? He's not there.
Yeah.
He kind of thinks he's there, but he's not there.
But do you want a guy who thinks he's there over a guy who clearly is not as good?
No.
And I think that's where
he's not a max contract guy. He's like a 20 million season guy. He's a good player. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong. Regular season, great. A little bit lost in the postseason, but again, that is probably playing 19 games together.
Well, I don't think he's that, and I don't think he's really played that much postseason, which is a big worry. Like you said, he needs his own team, and I think I made the comment a couple of months ago where he doesn't fit that mold that Philly needed him to fit into. It was kind of like he was just a guy that they were like, okay, we've got this guy, he's on decent money, he could do this and this and this, but then he didn't do it.
Yeah.
And they don't need to go all in on that. You know what I mean? Like what he just showed, I would not be like, I'd be like, I'm out, no money.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tobias.
You
cheers.
offer the max.
Yes. Probably. Yeah. But even that's a bit of a gamble too. I don't know. For Tobias Harris, if you went all in on Tobias Harris, there's probably 4 or 5 more guys you need around him. But for Jimmy Butler, there's still probably only about 2 or 3 guys you'd need to fix. And you'd be a lot further than you were with Tobias Harris, if you get what I mean. I don't know. Harris doesn't play the way... He doesn't fit with Embiid and Simmons.
No.
Jimmy Butler is good enough to fit. The problem is Jimmy Butler's a lot older and...
He's 29, so...
At 34 on a max, it's... I don't know how injury prone he is. You know what I mean?
He is injury prone, but this is the other thing as well you have to think of, is that if you get Jimmy Butler right now and able to add 2 shooters into the piece and have Ben Simmons and Embiid, right? You've got a team that could potentially hit the finals in the next 4 years. You don't have that with Tobias Harris.
I don't think you can. Like I said, I don't think he fits what they're doing, really. No. Like, what we saw was a very good audition of just, that doesn't fit what we're doing.
You just, you see it when Simmons would drive and kick, and then he'd put the ball on the floor and try and drive. It's like, no. The drive and kick is to get the guys away from you so you can shoot the 3 ball. And then he put the ball on the floor. And the amount of times in the postseason that happened and they ran out of shot clock was just like, why didn't you just shoot? Even though it's contested, you're a good shooter. Just shoot the ball. Like,
it's.
But what do you do if you're Philly staff, if you're Brett Brown, if you've just given away all your picks, you've given away.
They've given away a lot, man. They gave away a lot, eh?
Like, you gave away Shamet. Oh,
that's a worry too, because he had a big coming out in the Clippers series against the Warriors. Like, he had a big, like, oh, wow, Landry Shamet is a real player. And then suddenly everyone starts going, why'd they get rid of him? And you're just like, yeah, but no one was saying this when he was on Philly. No one was being like, oh, this guy's mad. Like, how good's this guy? It's not
He's
until
a JJ
they move.
Redick clone.
And then everyone goes, oh, he played well for the Clippers. Why did they get rid of him? And you're just like, oh, fuck off.
They got rid of him because they thought at this point in time they could win with that team.
I still don't understand why he was in that trade.
No, I don't.
I will look at that forever and just go,
They lost.
Do that.
They lost that trade. With the amount of picks in that trade, there was no reason Shamet could be there. But Doc Rivers and those guys are smart bloody. They traded Mike Muscala for Ivan Zubac. Like, it's just like they're smart.
Because Zubac, yeah. Muscala. And then I think I was listening to the Simmons and he was talking about Magic being like, yeah, that was a bad deal. I was just like, okay, we flubbed that one. Like,
Apparently they popped a bowl of champagne to wet themselves laughing after that deal went through. So,
sounds like Jerry West, man.
Yeah, but he's pretty good.
Ultimately, I think the destabilization of this Philly team, like, there was a lot of movement, man. There was a lot of destabilization through the season. It was kind of like jump on board, jump off at, various parts of the season. It's a shame where Simmons and Embiid are at the moment. They would have grown a little bit better, I think, in stable soil with a better team around them. But what's kind of happened is they're now the main parts of this team. Maybe 2 years a little bit too early.
Well, this is my issue with the whole trade this year. You've got Embiid, who's had his breakout fitness season where he's been fit most of the year. Like 60 games is pretty fit for him. You've had Simmons, who, some of the stats that we'll get you on Simmons is crazy. If you had the players around them where they had to step up and make more of a game of it, I think Simmons would have had to. Why does Simmons need to take a jump shot with Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, and JJ Redick and Embiid in the team? He doesn't need to.
Embiid's jumper was kind of a bit.
It fell off a cliff.
Yeah, it fell off a cliff
after All-Star. But what?
That's conditioning, though. I think like Embiid's conditioning at times looks really good, but then when he got to the playoffs, he kind of struggled a little bit.
He'd come off a long injury spell.
And then the little injury things here. But I don't know how you can't solve that. Like, that's a scenario where you just like...
That's the building around a big man.
Hope he win. Hope he's all right. And I don't know how you build around that, though.
Yeah.
How do you really build around that?
You trade him. You can't, though. He's Philly. He's the process.
He is the
but you trade
cornerstone.
Same as Colin Cowherd says. How do you build around a big man when you have potentially a generational player in Simmons who, if you create the Giannis effect, is a better ball handler, is a better passer, is a better defender in transition. You create the Giannis effect. It worked for the Bucks. Why could it not work for Philly?
It's so gravitational, though, man, to do that. Like, it worked for the Bucks, I think, because Giannis was already like mature in his egg and breaking out of it. And he just, like, Bud's come along just at the right time. Just like, oh, sweet, break him out of the egg. Yeah, no worries, fly. But the destabilization around the Philly franchise, like, the first trade was, like, to get Jimmy Butler, a win-now guy. And then the second trade was, like...
we got to win now. Yeah. Like, this may not work. We got to win. And, like, Boban.
Right, it doesn't make sense
is hilarious. Completely unplayable in the postseason.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. He's a gimmick.
Like, I don't know if you can have that in a team that's going to win a championship. You know what I mean? Like,
You
so
can't.
Russillo goes, every 3 seconds he looks like he's going to strangle himself shooting a jumper.
He can shoot though. That's the thing.
Yeah, he can shoot the
played
ball.
really well in that Brooklyn series, really well, but against Toronto, completely unplayable. It'll be interesting to see when Taco Fall comes into the league this year.
Yeah.
What that happens, because he's just like even more of a freak than Boban. 7'5.5" in shoes, 8'2" wingspan, 10'2" standing reach.
It's so crazy. It's every time I've seen him, but he just looks so slow.
His post move's actually not bad. He can't shoot the ball at all. Boban can shoot the ball. Can't tackle first, can't shoot the ball. Anyway, that's off topic.
Yeah. Okay.
This is Philly, but still, like, that's talking about the freak.
They brought in Chandler.
I think Mike Scott was a good pickup out of that. I think
Because he can shoot the ball, but he's again a secondary type guy where comes off the bench and does some stuff.
20 minutes. But, for $2 or $3 or $4 million, that's not bad. Solid, shoots the ball at 40%. Chubb, so he's got good lane filling abilities.
He was a bit injured in that end of that.
And he did his foot.
Yeah.
A bit of plantar fasciitis. But that's, that happens in basketball, being big. But he's a Chubb guy, give you 20 minutes a night, shoot the 3 ball. Fits in well with Simmons. I think that's important. Doesn't clog the lane. Can put the ball on the floor and pass out. So that was a little win out of that. You can't re-sign Boban. You can't re-sign Tobias Harris. So that trade was just completely lost.
Yeah.
Completely lost. So you got rid of Chandler, which was a good idea. Muscala, which was a good idea. Shamet, plus all those picks, that trade was lost. After that, they traded a couple of dead picks to the Raptors for cash. They got Raptors got cash.
Emir
Prelzic and Malachi Richardson. They waived Malachi Richardson plus the 2020 second round, 2022.
So what was Malachi? Was that late second round last year?
Yeah, late second round.
Yeah,
just
right.
They were trying to get them off the books.
I look at this and I'm like, there's so many things.
But this is back to
here,
they
around
never saw time in the G League. They never saw time. On the 7th, this was a good trade.
Yeah, Ennis was a good pickup. Yeah.
That was a good pickup. They got a 2021 second round draft pick for James Ennis. I hope they re-sign James Ennis on a decent, Jonah Bolden style 4-year, 5-year, $6 million deal. He's a great role player, I think.
Off the bench, you reckon?
Or off the bench. I don't think he can
3?
start. I think
invest in a 3 instead of Tobias Harris, obviously.
Well, no, Jimmy Butler's the 3.
Well, who's playing shooting guard then? Redick.
If
Yeah.
you can sign Redick to another $8-9 million single season, I mean, he's had a
Would
career.
you prefer Redick off the bench?
No, didn't work. Marco Fultz didn't work. Play Redick at the start.
Yeah.
He can get you out of the box very
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah.
And he's fit. Redick is fit. Like for a 34-year-old guy, Redick is fit. Now, this is the next big one. The Markel Fultz
yeah, we should
saga.
talk about that, yeah. Dude, no one's talking about it.
No one's talking
cares.
because you know what? He's just like, this dude's fucking shit. Get rid of him.
That was in the news for ages, man. Like for 3 or 4 months, I was just like, I don't want to hear this.
They
anymore.
started the first 16 or 17 games with Simmons and Fultz.
And then he disappeared.
In his own head. Disappeared. Oh, I've got thoracic outlet syndrome, which is just bitch shoulder syndrome. Can't shoot. All in my head. And then they're like, yep, exit left. And I think quietly they went and just get rid of him. Signed him to the Magic for a 2019, so this year, first and second round pick.
That's not bad.
It's not bad for Jonathan Simmons. Jonathan Simmons, not a great player. He's on another year's guaranteed deal for another year, $7 million. So he's on $7 million this season, which will hamper their cap space a little bit. So it's not a great deal. But when you're trading out $8-9 million in cap space for Fultz. They waived Malachi Richardson, and then that's when they waived Justin Patton and signed Greg Monroe to end out this season.
Yeah.
So crazy.
It's a lot of turnover, man.
How do you the Warriors team? What have they done this year? Nothing.
Yeah. So
The Raptors. What have they done this year?
They drafted Ennis, but Boogie was big coming back. They always had that to come into.
They had that to come into. What have the Bucks done? Not a lot.
Not much. Yeah.
What has Portland done? Oh, they signed Kanter because of Nurkic. To make the Eastern Conference Finals and get beaten semifinals, and get beaten on a chalky buzzer beater that was a travel. It was. He took 4 steps.
Yeah. Bad shot.
with that
Bad
amount,
shot.
yeah, with that amount of movement, is a pretty good feat.
Yeah, it's
not what you want out of that
Nah.
movement, but it's not bad.
it's not flag planting in the soil good, and it's not awfully bad that you get upset and go, that was bad. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of like,
it's just too much destabilization,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And then at the end of the day, Covington probably should have stayed, and Shamet probably should have stayed, and that might have been a lot better team. Like, you get an extra perimeter guy, and then
you got
someone who could shoot threes off the bench. And Shamet, who showed he wasn't scared in the playoffs to take shots,
Yeah,
took a couple of big ones in that Warriors
Yeah,
series. The problem is, like, where we'll get onto their season, but where do they go from here? Like,
they've got to hope that they can lure one free agent. They hope that they've got to either lure Jimmy Butler, or they've got to lure another decent free agent to clog that position. Because if you look at their cap space next year, obviously Jimmy Butler will opt out and get maxed somewhere else.
I think he's going to take it.
Yeah.
He's going to opt out and look for some money.
He's going to look for some stability over the next few years. You kind of end up with Embiid, Simmons, Bolden.
And look, we should talk quickly about Bolden. I mean,
he
showed something this season, right?
Oh, that game against Timberwolves was a breakout game where he shot 5 of 7. Everyone's was like, what does this guy think he is? Steph Curry? That was so fucking cheesed off things. The Timberwolves commentators like, fuck, we get beaten by some fucking role player who's on $1 million a year.
So he showed that he could be a piece in this team, right? It wasn't like, wow, rush him in, get him in. And he ended up starting a fair few games.
10 games he started. He averaged 4.5 points, 4.7 points per game.
Not great, but it's not a go-to scoring option when there's 4.
Shot the 3 ball at 35%, which is not horrible. It's not bad statistics, really.
And for his first season, I don't think it could have gone any better with what was happening with this franchise. Like, you couldn't look at Bolden and go, mate, you could have done better. Like, I feel like he did absolutely everything he could to say, look, there's a role for me in this team. I still think it's like an off-the-bench, 15, 17 minutes a night.
But he showed that he can play with Embiid at the 4. He doesn't clog up the space. He can still block, average the block a game. That's pretty good. Coming off the bench, playing the 4, maybe playing a bit of the 5 as well. Not a great free throw shooter, but that can get better. Showed that he can rebound offensively, defense. Averaged out of his 4 boards, he averaged an offensive rebound a game.
Yeah,
that just shows that he knows how to get into the right spaces for second chance points.
Yep.
One criticism of Jonah Bolden, he gets easily led into the pump fake and fouls. Yeah. But that
young. Takes time. That takes time.
Playing an average of 14.5 minutes per game of 44 games for the year.
But known shot blocker too.
Yeah.
It's the Thon thing where people just go, Thon gets done in the air a lot. I'm like, yeah, but he's a known shot blocker. Known shot blockers get done in the air a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it took 2 seasons for Looney to stop going in the air. And you're like, yeah, but Looney, you're not a shot blocker. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Don't go up on this. Like, you're not known as someone who blocks shots.
Yeah.
Stop biting on pump fakes. But for Bolden, I think defensively too, he showed a lot of it, astute. Look, off the perimeter, he got torched a little bit, but first year, I'm not going to go
he can put the ball on the floor as well. He's finishing around the rims a little bit bad. But that'll get better. It's something that he can take away. I mean, I'm stoked that he's playing for Australians in the Boom as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Stoked.
But we kind of need that number 4, like that.
We need that
power forward who's big and powerful and can actually clog up the lanes. Like, we kind of got brittle center in Bogut, Baines, who's like a big guy who can't
Jock
move.
Landau 5.
But he can shoot. He's a stretch 5.
He's a stretch 5, but he can also defend the rim. So you got 2 guys that can do.
It's not great. But,
Euro defend.
Yeah, Euro level.
Euro level.
But look, so they've got that pick matured 24. So for Philly, they've got the 24th pick in the first round and 54 in the second round. On a couple 33 and 34 for next year. So there's a potential to pick up some draft gems.
Hopefully.
Still, I don't know if this, again, I keep saying it, I don't know if the soil is ripe for draft gems yet. You know what I mean? If they can sign Butler, maybe, but it's still not quite there.
Well, I mean, all they have left is on contract Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Zaire Smith, and Zaire Smith's only 19, so we haven't seen, and he did average 7 points a game when he played. So we might see a lot more of Zaire Smith. I hope we do next year, and that'd be a good two guard. James Ennis, I hope we see. We got Jonathan Simmons coming back. Hayward's Highsmith's obviously on a two-way deal. Shake Milton's still there, and he's not a bad player that can potentially come through into a more of that rotation role in the guard section.
Yeah.
What we're lacking is a small forward and a power forward. Really, and a good backup center. Amir Johnson's had his time. He's old. He won't come back this year, obviously. So
the problem with that is, right, now you're going, oh, we're still like 2 or 3 players away from this and that. You got 4 draft picks. I don't know if draft picks aren't going to fill that
No,
gap.
they're not. You need to sign Butler.
And then if you got 4 draft picks, like you're just drafting more guys to sit 12 to 15 on a roster or go into the G League. You know what I mean? Like, there's still like these weird about face type of wrinkles.
I just think that they went all in. They showed all their hand. They lost, and now they're kind of like, well, we just have to hope Jimmy Butler signs with us. That's what it is. If Jimmy Butler signs with us, you pick up Mike Spot and Jonah Bolden at 4. They can play. They can take minutes off each other at the 4. I mean, obviously, I think that would be more of a role player as well because Mike Scott's not a bad 4. He showed in the playoffs he can play in the postseason.
Yep.
Jonah Bolden can play regular minutes, can play a little bit of postseason, can stretch and shoot the 4, which is what you need, and can block Hunt on the weak side and give Embiid that backup. They need to sign a decent backup center. That's the one thing as well.
I don't think center by committee works with this team.
No.
You know, like Portland had 1 guy and he went down, and then they had 3 guys and all 3 of them were like useless. And I don't think this team needs this. They need a second really good backup center. I don't think they should go into the draft for that. They should try and find someone who's like Amir Johnson's not good enough. You could probably get rid of him and Monroe. Like, have a look at the experience here. I'm just looking at it here. 14 years for Johnson, 13 for Redick, Monroe 8, Butler 7. And there's 2 out of those 4 are main guys. And then you look at Harris 7, Scott 6, James Ennis 4. Like then you're starting to go, oh shit! Like these guys haven't played together that long.
No.
And then TJ's 3 years in the league, and then you probably your main 2 guys, which are Simmons and Embiid, 2 years and 3 years. Like it's for where Simmons and Embiid are. Them being the main guys is a bit of a worry to me. Like, it says to me, like, shit, like, you can't have those 2 as the main guys yet. They're still not experienced.
You need,
and that's harder to plug veterans into that. Like, it's easier to plug veterans into guys who are 28, 29 because they know they can trust these guys. But it's harder to plug the veteran guys in knowing they're nurturing guys that are super young.
Yeah.
Because you get pushback from the super young guys who are just like, oh, I don't like this guy. And then they're a massive part of your franchise that you've got to respect. And I don't know, man.
It's the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think Philly aren't there, but it is kind of like the Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anthony Towns.
Carl Anthony Wiggins.
Wiggin Anthony Towns.
So I was just looking at the mock draft here. Like, obviously, like, we're Zion, Ja Morant, Barrett, Hunter, Kobe White,
I was surprised Rui Hachimura is going like 18. I was like, really? Trade up for Rui.
Philly could pick up. So where's he gone here in the mock draft for NBA Draft Net? It's not even there in the first round. Oh, no, he's number 10 for Atlanta. Ooh, that'd be a good pickup for Atlanta.
God, Trae Young and Kevin Huerter.
MVP, future MVP.
I think Rui Hachimura is a future All-Star.
6'8", man. I didn't realize he was 6'8". Dude, if they could pick him up.
Philly
could pick him up. That'd be a pretty good pick.
I don't think they're going to scout him though, but man, just watching him, he is phenomenal.
Anyway, but let's talk about Philly season in general.
Started off a bit slow, obviously picked up after the trades, then Embiid, long string of injuries, 50-50. They played some good games, beat some big teams, still struggled against the Celtics, played against some good games against the Bucks, lost to silly teams like losing to the Cavs at home. It was one of those seasons they played hard. I'm going to give you some crazy Ben Simmons stats for the year.
Blow my mind.
Blow your mind. So a bit of advanced Ben Simmons stats before we go on to his general stats. 9th in minutes played in the NBA.
That's huge, man.
9th in minutes. 9th in 2-point field goals made.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Free throw attempts, 19th in the league.
Wow, getting to the line a lot. That's good.
Yeah. Rebounds, 16th in the league. Assists third. Steals 16th.
That's third in assists. Fuck, that's pretty good.
Yep. 16th in steals. Real plus minus 58th.
That's pretty good. It's good.
Efficiency rating 48th and a defensive rating of 108.4. His defensive rating last year was 102.
That's good. His defense was way better. We should talk about that. Like
his
so
playoff
much
defense.
better.
If you look at his regular season defense, he's not really a lockdown. He'll let a lot of guys breeze past him because he wants to play in transition.
But his lateral quickness and his ability to...
The way he locked down Kawhi, man, like that's not many guys can lock down Kawhi like he did.
His IQ is getting a lot better. And I think working with Jimmy Butler, even if Jimmy Butler leaves, a year with Ben Simmons working on his defense, I think would be an important takeaway if he does end up leaving. But I noticed this season, like his defense was just way
phenomenal.
And blocking shots too.
Yeah.
Timing and that was way better. Even like chase down guys, he was in better positions to do that than he was last year. Feels like the first season was just a blur, and this season was like, okay, show us what you can really do. And we saw like a wider array of different things where you're like, ooh, okay, and then but it still comes back to everyone being like, the shot, it has to be the shot, and you're like,
just shut up.
Okay, man, fuck, look at all these other things he can do. Even if it's not for the next 3 years, man, I'm cool with him not shooting the ball.
Exactly.
But I'd like to see, I'd like to see a couple of threes maybe this year and some more
Well,
mid-range.
he took 6 shots this year, legitimate shots where he stepped up to the line and shot the ball. 3 of them rimmed out. So
what, like 3 legitimate threes?
No, 6 legitimate threes where he stepped up and shot the ball. I think he shot 12 in total, but 6 were running transition kind of end of game, end of quarter scenarios. So we're going to his real stats now. 56% from percentage field goal. Obviously, no threes involved, so that's in the paint and areas like that. I think he was the number 1 dunking guard by quite a margin as well. Free throws went up to 60% from 56, a little bit better. Needs to really improve that, I think.
Yeah, if he's going to get to the line, he needs to improve that.
He got up, well, he increased from free throw attempts from 2.4 to 3.3 per game. Definitely offensive rebound. Rebounding went up this year, 8.8. Assists went down slightly to 7.7. Steals, 1.4. Blocks, 0.8. Turnovers were exactly flat, and he averaged about 1.1 more points per game. So, did he get better? I think so.
Yeah.
I think he had a better season.
Fundamentally, I think he did. Like, you're not looking for crazy scoring numbers.
No.
And I think if you are, you're looking in the wrong area for Simmons at the moment. For me, I'm looking at his defense, and it's gotten a lot better. And his ability to play make in a team, again, that's kind of moved around all over the place, new different guys, it still stayed pretty constant. Knowing how to find guys in the corner. His driving kick game was a little bit better this season because he had that spacing with Butler and Harris. I don't like. You've got to now go. Okay, you've got to get some more lobs for Embiid, but then Embiid kind of you're better when you move around a bit more. So there's less like Embiid diving to the hoop now in this system. With Jimmy Butler and Harris and all these other guys. So maybe if they get back to like Embiid at the dunker spot, he might get a lot more lobs on those driving kicks. But they're like a half team, like a half Houston, half Bucks, where it's not James Harden. Like, he's not James Harden and he's not Giannis. Like, it's kind of in between.
Yeah.
But they're trying to play real conventional basketball, yet at the same time he handles the ball and drives, and there's options for him to drive. So I like that better. Like, I like that better than if they just cleared everyone out and, Ben Simmons was just driving down the lane the entire time. I think it's a better use of him. So if you look here, he shot 57% from 0 and 3 feet. It's pretty good around the rim. But then from 3 to 10 feet, 32%, it's not good. You want to see that kind of get up a little bit. And from 10 to 16, man, you want to see him take some more shots from that kind of range.
Yeah, I think he took like 1 or 2 shots from...
Oh, sorry, that's attempts. So 57% of his attempts were from 0 and 3 feet, and 32 was from 3 and 10. Actual percentage, 42% from 3 and 10 feet. That's not bad.
Yeah.
70%
around the rim. Yeah, around the rim, which is, he's known for his finishing.
Yeah.
Playoffs, had a bit of a mixed run. Down on playoffs in terms of real numbers this year.
Yeah.
Points per game, 14. He was up at 16.5 last year. Free throw percentage was pretty bad, 57.5%. Rebounding totals, 8. assists just under. For this year was 7. Last year was 10. So his playoff numbers were down a little bit. Blocks were up. Real defensive rating was quite good this year. I think it was 106 in the postseason. So that was quite good. Offensive rating was 118. So really, really high in the playoffs. Good. It's just, in a team where you've got Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid, your role is not to score.
Yeah, exactly.
People can say that they can talk all they want. Your role is not to score. Your role is to facilitate, to get these guys and to lock down. And he did that against Kawhi. He facilitated very well. Off-ball movement was great, getting guys open. And that was the most important part of the season. Like, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah,
well, he took less shots in more minutes this postseason. So 9.9 field goals attempted a game. Last year it was 12.2. But he played 421 minutes this season and 369 last season. And it's understandable that you've got Jimmy Butler, you've got Harris, you've got Embiid, even Mike Scott shooting 3 balls. Like, they're all better options if he drives and kicks to those guys rather than tries to score the ball and attempt shots. The one thing, obviously, he's kind of got to get out of his game is that him just offloading the ball in a stagnant offense and then just standing down low. Like, I don't like that. Like, it might serve a purpose and it might work for him, but I would prefer him to go and fake standing low and then come back out and then maybe try to get the ball again and drive. Just create in a third layer of broken offense. Like, I didn't see that enough this season where offense will break down, he'll just give the ball up, and it's almost like he'll just go and sit down on the side of the court.
Yeah.
Just like, when you guys are ready and we may either make it or miss, we'll just come back on the court. Like, he needs to find somewhere where he gets to the dunker spot. He maybe, like, fake cuts all the way back around. Like, he's not going to get a dribble handoff to look to shoot the ball.
No.
But he might get a dribble handoff to look to then drive again while everyone else is scrambling around, like, trying to work out why he's come all the way back around. They didn't run enough of that. But mainly, he's not the go-to offensive guy. He's handing the ball off to dudes who he knows are going to score. So it's like, it's 6 of one, half a dozen the other. But
it is. It's a tough realm to kind of think about and talk about when it comes to this team. It's changed so much. His role has kind of had to adapt to a very crowded lane as well. Obviously with Tobias, everyone trying to get into the lane except JJ. So I think he's done quite well to adapt to that. I think next year will open up if they get rid of Harris, Jimmy Butler. He does need to start shooting the ball a little bit more. It doesn't have to be in the postseason. It doesn't have to be in the big games. But if you're playing the Cavs, like, take some shots. Yeah. Take some shots. It's some trash minutes. All right, get Ben Simmons out to take some 3 balls and some trash time. Who gives a shit? Like, it's
I don't know if his mentality is that.
I think it's kind of like, well, no, this is my role. This is what I'm good at. I'm just going to do that. I don't need to get out of my own head and go, 3 ball, it's not dropping and that affects my game. It's just like, no, I'm good at this. This is what I do. If you don't like it, kind of go and sit over there, as he told the fans after the Brooklyn game.
Yeah, there's 2 conspiracy theories I got. It's like, I think he doesn't want to shoot shots and have shitty stats from shooting shots. He'd just rather go, I won't take those shots. And then if I don't shoot them, I can't miss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's that, and there's the coaching where he's being told to do certain things and he just does it.
Yep.
And then maybe it's a Brett Brown thing.
Yeah, it could be.
And then the other thing is, like, I've noticed through football, a lot of young people are the same. Like, if I don't shoot them, I can't be on video on a 60-shot miss compilation. Like, stuff like that. Or that might affect my brand. Like, maybe I'm going a bit deep on the conspiracy on that. But
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I feel like there's a certain aspect of, if I don't shoot, then I can't be on video looking like a dickhead shooting terrible shots. Oh, he airballed. Like, maybe that's... I look at him, though, and go, no, that he doesn't give off that mentality of that. But at the same time, I look at it and go, maybe, but he's so mentally tough that I'm like, nah, I'm not worried about it, but I still kind of think maybe it comes into his thinking a little bit. But I don't know, man. Brett Brown, tell me about Brett Brown. What you think next season, or how you feel about him in general?
Yeah, I feel good. Like, he's a good coach. He's probably a little bit overly criticized. I think he did outcoach Nick Nurse in this series. I think when Joel Embiid goes down and he plays with the shits, and then he's coughing on the court. you're kind of down your biggest player. Like, what do you do? Like, this is your franchise player. He's fucking sick. Well, you try and win, and he gets better, and, you know, you play better, and you take Toronto to 7, and, you know, you get beaten by a chalky shot. What do you do?
Yeah.
I think if it goes to the Bucks series, I think they do very well against the Bucks, and I think they do very well against the Warriors. If it goes, you know, it's just unlucky.
Yeah,
it's unlucky. At that time of the year, Embiid gets sick and he goes down, and there's nothing much you can do about that. I think that, from my perspective, they should have rested him and played Simmons in that really tough hybrid 5 role for that game in Toronto. There's no reason for him to play if he's coughing.
Have they got another ball handler, really, though?
Well, TJ,
yeah.
TJ,
he didn't play at all.
No,
he just disappeared. What was up with that?
Yeah, I think we would have played well against Toronto. Again, that was a decision that Butler would be the secondary point guard. And I think that was kind of like, well, Jimmy, if you stay here, you get to become a point guard. That's all what you've always wanted to be.
Yeah.
You've always wanted to be the ball handler. Here, this is what it looks like.
It's another wrinkle, yeah.
It's kind of like that. This is what we're showing you it could be, you know. And I think Jimmy liked that because he was, you know, a bit of confrontation with Brett Brown over the lack of pick and roll, more of the dribble handoff, fast style motion. It was like, well, Jimmy, you know what? You just play. You play facilitation because Jimmy loves, you know, he loves assisting guys. That's what he prides himself on, being that team guy. So I think that you just got to, Brett Brown's got to come together. They've got to recruit someone decent in the power forward position next year. If it all falls apart, you've got to try somehow put a team together, maybe draft well at 24. You know, give Zaire Smith more of that 2-time. Re-sign James Ennis at the least. And keep it going. I don't know what else you kind of can do.
Just looking at here, playoff totals for this season. Is it this season or in total? 443 minutes for Harris. So he was the highest minutes guy. Only shot 42.5% from the field and then 34.9% from 3. It's not the worst.
It's not worse, but it's not a max guy. It's not a guy like Kawhi's a max guy. You pay Kawhi because he can take over. You pay Jimmy Butler because Jimmy Butler can take over.
So
your max guy is the guy Steph can take over. Clay can't take over.
Nah, he's kind of trying to, and I like that, but it's not.
You can't. LeBron can take over. You know, you look at all those guys that are on the big supermax contracts; they can all take over a game and successfully do it. Embiid, can he take over? I don't think so.
I think you could, but you kind of need to get rid of someone like Simmons and then get a point guard who can run like proper conventional pick and roll, who can pick and pop, and who's a threat to shoot the ball. But obviously, if you could teach Ben Simmons that'd be even better. But who knows how
that's what you need
going
to
to take a few years.
Hopefully he goes with Drew Hanlon and gets some shooting done. Although that didn't work out too well for Markel Fultz.
But if you go back, like even going further down, Jimmy Butler next shot 26% from 3. It's not great. 41% from Redick, 30% from Embiid, 28% from Ennis, 9 of 32 in the playoffs. And then Mike's got 35%. I think there wasn't quite enough 3-point shooting there to get them out of a hole. Like, it's not bankable 3-point shooting, but it's not like it kind of supplements your offense. If you look at guys like Ennis, they're not playoff hardened. Mike Scott shot all right, and he's not really playoff hardened. Jimmy Butler shooting 26% is not great, but he's not really a 3-point shooter either. Not. It's kind of
he does kind of shoot 3 points in the big minutes though. Like you look at the fourth quarter, it's probably a lot higher. Shoots the ball at a lot higher clip in the fourth quarter, but it seems like he's a mid-range guy. He's DeMar DeRozan.
We're just so blessed from seeing like so many 40% shooters now.
Yeah,
that you kind of go 33%. That's not great.
No, but that's 5 years ago. 5 years ago, that's like wow. This guy's
like wow, lights out. This is sensational. You know what I mean? Like JJ Redick at 41% stands out, but then you look at JJ Redick and go, yeah, well, that's what I expect from JJ Redick.
Yeah.
You know,
if you don't expect anything less, he's one of the best shooters. He's probably the other best shooter the game's ever seen. Like crazy shooter.
Anyway, want to wrap it up?
Yeah, man, we've been going for a long time. I suppose that we come back next year and we do it again. Obviously, big off season, some drafting to happen, some guys to come back in, and we see what happens. All right.
It'll be interesting. I think it's a big season. Stability, man. Stability.
That's what it is. They've got to pick this
bring
team.
in a team and for the next 4 years, stick with it. And couple of pieces here and there, rather than the crazy gravitational shit that they
well,
did this
again,
year.
draft
Let's hope
picks are
that's
gone.
the end of that. Yeah.
Indeed. All right, guys.
All right, take it easy.
Remember to like, share, and subscribe.
Share and subscribe everywhere: Facebook, YouTube, do it all. We love you all. Thanks
See
for
you
watching.
guys. Boo.